Hello everyone, and welcome to our series on systems of equations applications. So we're going to start with some basic problems in this episode, and we're going to talk about when they give us some descriptions on two numbers. So if we look at this first example, they tell us that the sum of two numbers is 30 and their difference is 12. So what we really want to do first is we want to define our variables. So I'm going to just go with x and y here. So I'm going to say x is the first number. And I'm going to say y is the second number. The problem doesn't really dictate any difference between the two numbers. They just want the two numbers. You could pick and say x is the greater number and y is the lesser number if you wanted to, but ultimately, no matter how you handle it, the two numbers are going to be the same and interchangeable. Okay, so let's take this first sentence. The sum of two numbers is 30. So if our numbers are x and y, those are the two numbers, and their sum is 30, that leads us to the equation x plus y equals 30. And that's one of our equations. Our goal is always to write two equations to create a system to solve these problems. The second part is their difference is 12. So I'm going to go ahead with x minus y equals 12. Could I have written y minus x equals 12? Absolutely. We would have gotten x and y reversed and ultimately the same values, and since we don't really care which number is which, we just need to find the two numbers. It doesn't really matter if you've done y minus x or x minus y. But here are our two equations, and now we can go ahead and solve them. So this is really set up to be solved by elimination, so I can go ahead and add these two equations to each other. X plus x would give me 2x. Positive y and negative y would cancel, and I'd get 42 on the other side, and I can divide both sides by 2 to get x is 21. So that's our first number. And so we can go ahead and plug into either of our equations to find our other number. So for our first equation, we have 21 plus y equals 30. And if we subtract 21 from both sides, we get that y is equal to 9. If we really want to be sure, we can plug this into our second equation as well to see if we get the same answer. So 21 minus y should be 12. Okay, well if I subtract 21 from both sides, I'm going to get negative y equals negative 9. And if I divide by negative 1, I get y is equal to 9. So that confirms that my other number is 9. So we want to just make sure we're taking a second to actually answer the question. Even though it's kind of sitting here for us in our equations, we're going to go ahead and answer the question and say the two numbers are 9 and 21. Great, that problem is done. Let's look at another example that just has a slight difference to it. So in this next example, it says the difference between two numbers is 9. Okay, starting off the same way. So we've got two numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and say x is the first number, and y is the second number. And the difference between the two numbers is 9. So that's x minus y equals 9. Well, let's continue. The first number plus twice the other number is 27. So that kind of reads just like a mathematical sentence here, a mathematical equation. The first number plus twice the other number. Okay, first number plus twice the other number is 27. Terrific. So now we've got two equations here. We can do a couple of different things for solving this. Probably the easiest is to do elimination and to subtract. When I'm doing elimination and I'm subtracting, I like to kind of distribute my negative here. So I'm going to put a negative there to subtract. I'm also going to change that sign right away to a minus and change this to a negative 27. That way I can clearly remember what sign everything should be. So again, x plus negative x is gone, so those cancel out. Negative y, negative 2y is negative 3y. 9 and negative 27 is negative 18. Great, divide by negative 3 on both sides, and we have y is equal to 6. We go ahead and plug that back in. So x minus our number 6 is equal to 9. So we would add 6 to both sides, and we get x is equal to 15. We can plug that into our other number, our other equation. So x plus 2 times 6 should equal 27. This is really 12 here, so I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. Yes, once again, we get 15. So let's answer our question. The two numbers are 6 and 15. Awesome. So now we've done our first kind of examples. Check back and we'll do some more types of systems of equations applications.